introduce her speech today, I was extremely honored. The connection I have formed with her throughout my high school experience is something I really value and appreciate. Most of you have had the opportunity of having Miss Prince for math maybe once during your time here at Collegiate. I'm proud to say Miss Prince has been my math teacher all 4 years of high school. Clearly, my career in AP Calc or AP Stats never really flourished, but let me reassure you, Miss Prince does a better job than anyone teaching the not-so-great math students like myself fun things like how to solve an equation or the slope of a line. The amount of patience she has really makes me question her sanity sometimes. But in all seriousness, Miss Prince has impacted my life in more ways than just math. She teaches not only me, but also all of her students to find positive in every negative situation. There are countless days that I come to school in a bad mood, but Miss Prince always knows exactly how to cheer me up. The collegiate community is so lucky to have such a hardworking, passionate, and kind person like you, Miss Prince. And please don't be surprised if you get a phone call from me next year asking for homework help. Collegiate, I give you Miss Molly Prince.
Good morning. Almost 20 years ago, I married Junior Scott Prince, and it changed my life forever and for the better. 15, 13, and 11 years ago, Ellie, Ann, and Ben Prince were born, and they changed my life forever and for the better. 9 years ago, my family moved to Louisville and joined the Louisville Collegiate School, and it changed my life forever and for the better. I don't normally say this in class, but right now I hope your mind is wandering. I hope you're thinking about an event or events that change your life forever and for the better. Those events are usually big things, big decisions like taking a class we learn we love, or choosing a college, or graduations, or choosing a job. But today I want to tell you about a small event, and by some accounts not entirely a wise decision that changed my life forever and for the better. My senior year of high school, I had a friend whom I adored who went to West Point. And wanting to follow his lead, I decided to join the UVA ROTC's program. To make that decision, I looked at the brochure, and I saw people doing fun things like rappelling and hiking, and decided, looks like fun, sign me up. I didn't think about how it would fit with my core beliefs, or how other people who would follow that path found it, but I made the decision on a whim. So, I began my college experience by arriving on the University of Virginia grounds 8 days early so I could begin my ROTC training. I loved everything about that week. We were outside, it was a significant physical challenge, there was a huge emphasis on teamwork and collaboration, and strategy mattered in everything we did. And that first week was just the beginning. In my first and second year at the University of Virginia, I learned innumerable lessons from ROTC. First, I learned to wake up early. A popular Army slogan is, "We do more before 9 a.m. than most people do all day," and I'm here to tell you that is true. I would get to my 9:30 class, already having run a 5K, done countless push-ups, recited various parts of the Constitution, and eaten a breakfast worthy of the football team. I was firing on all cylinders for that first class, and I was on fire for that second class too. That third class, the one after lunch, was a different story, and I'm sure my geometry students could tell you what I'm talking about here. Because of UVA's ROTC program, though, I learned to wake up early. And in fact, I'm still the first one up in my home, usually an hour or two before everyone else. And in that time, I can read, I can run, I can pray, I can write an Amazon address, and we all need a window in our lives like that. A time where our minds can wander, our bodies can sweat, we can connect to something outside of ourselves. Because of UVA's ROTC program, I have that time every day. And I hope you find a way to have it in your lives too. The second lesson I learned from the Army's emphasis, from the UVA ROTC program, came from the Army's emphasis on what needs to happen for any team to thrive and accomplish its mission. Our company of cadets had a slogan for these necessary conditions: strategic habits for individuals and teams. The acronym here is SHIT. And we were frequently reminded to get our SHIT together. While I think it had to be enjoyable for our commanding cadet officers to cuss at us and have it be okay, their point was actually very wise and very clear. For a team to thrive, each individual needs to be accountable for his or her own needs. For an ROTC cadet, that meant having your flashlight, having your map, having your water bottle. And if an individual didn't have those items ready, no matter how much of a rock star he or she was actually a detriment to the team and its accomplishment of its mission. And 20 years later, I still understand that if I want to be a strong teacher, a strong parent, a strong friend, a strong spouse, before I can pursue any of those valuable missions, I need to have my strategic habits and individuals and teams together. I need to have a flashlight, but really that means I need to see. I need to have a map. I need to know where I am and what I'm trying to accomplish. And I need to have a water bottle. I need to take care of myself and my physical needs. And that doesn't really fit with what we hear a lot of times, that there's no I in team. But the U.S. Army will tell you that you're no good on any team if you're not ready to give it all of what you have. One last lesson I learned in ROTC that I'd like to share with you today was not something we hear every day. I learned quickly that sometimes there's great wisdom in not showing your emotions. The summer after my first year, at the tender age of 19, I had the fantastic opportunity to head on down to Fort Benning, Georgia for the U.S. Army's Airborne School. Whoa! There with approximately 400 other individuals, some ROTC cadets, but mostly enlisted corporals and privates in the U.S. Army. We were allowed to spend 3 weeks trying to make our way through paratrooper school. On the first day of that endeavor, we went to classes about the Geneva Conventions on shooting at paratroopers. We were fitted for our helmets that we would wear after our 5 jumps from a C-130. And we were shown our barracks and taught precisely how to keep them up to the speed. At the day's end, I thought, I got this in the bag. I really didn't understand much at age 19. On the second day, our real training started. With the pretense that all paratroopers need excellent upper body and core strength, we spent many hours doing push-ups and crunches. Rising at 4 in the morning, 32 of us, our stick, were led through our training by Master Sergeant McGuire. Master Sergeant McGuire was known by his fellow training sergeants as the Onion, because he knew how to make everyone cry. 200-pound guys from Jersey, small, wiry folks, tougher than any jockey I've ever seen. All of us, sooner or later, were brought to tears. And it's not too long before that person was crying was me. We did all of our physical training in a pit filled with sawdust, and Master Sergeant McGuire would walk around the pit looking for the next person he could see would crack. And pretty soon that person was me. He walked over to me and said, "Cadet Benson, why'd they let a wimp like you in the United States Army Airborne School?" I had one and only one correct response at this point. I needed to say, oh, and he also said, "Why do you want to be here?" I needed to say, "I want to be here because I want to be here, Master Sergeant McGuire." That was it. That was the answer. Unfortunately, I got really nervous, and I said, "I want to be here because I want to be here, sir."
Ooh.
Well, he was a sergeant, which meant he was enlisted, and the fact that I had just called him sir was significantly offensive to him. And all of a sudden, he had the opportunity to start making me cry. So he said, let's see here, "Benson, drop and give me 20. So I drop and start doing 20 push-ups, but I'm so nervous, I keep doing push-ups way past 20. "Benson, you go to college and you can't even count to 20? We're all gonna show you how to count to 20. You're gonna count to 20 times. And for the mathophiles in the room, he just told me to do 400 push-ups. So I started doing push-ups all afternoon in the sawdust, in the hot Georgia sun. And I don't know if it was more sweat or more tears dripping off the end of my nose, but it was a long, long afternoon, and Master Sergeant McGuire was really enjoying the entertainment. That afternoon, we got back to our barracks, and I was a mess. And I had a bunkmate, her name was Larissa. And Larissa said, "Benson, you're a mess." And I said, I know it, but if I can just polish my boots perfectly and not sleep in my bunk so it's made perfectly in the morning and iron my BDUs perfectly, he might leave me alone. Larissa, you don't get it. He's not going after you because you messed up. He's going after you because you're afraid. Well, I am afraid. She said, no matter, I am afraid, but if I just do it perfectly, he'll have to leave me alone. And Larissa said, it doesn't matter how hard you try tonight. You will mess up tomorrow. And he'll come after you looking for the crack in your armor. And that crack will be there. Somewhere. But Vincent, said Larissa, here's the secret to the universe. When he starts yelling at you, look straight at his nose and find his nose hairs. Think about how funny it is he has hair in his nose. Think about him trimming his nose hair. Think about the fact we all have nose hair. Think about all the weird hairs over all human bodies. Think about that while he's yelling at you. Larissa hadn't gone to college. Many of her subjects did not agree with her verbs. She left many modifiers misplaced. But she's one of the wisest people I've ever known. Because she did teach me one of the best lessons I've ever learned. That when you're afraid, when you want to run away, when you're pretty sure it's about to get even darker, stand where you are. Plant your feet and think of nose hairs. Or think of anything that makes you laugh. I have a whole list if you ever want to borrow it. But more importantly, don't try to hide from your fear. Don't think you can be above it or escape it by doing everything just right. It's simply not possible. Find your strength in the fact that laughing, even for just an instant, is a defiance. It's a snort of contempt in the face of fear. My time with Master Sergeant McGuire was definitely not the last time I felt gut-wrenching fear, or my fair share of emotional pain. But in the scary and hard times of life since then, and we all hit those moments, I've known that I could find a little thing to steal my focus away from fear, or from pain. And that little thing would create a light in my heart, and a laugh in my chest in the midst of it all. That light and that laugh have given me strength, have renewed my faith, and allowed me to know that I can always take the next step no matter what it is. I hope that one day, when fear seizes your chest and you want to run away and there's nowhere to run to, I hope you'll stand firm where you are. Stand firm in who you are. And find that nose hair. That nose hair, or even something more ridiculous, will be there to make you laugh for just a second. And if that nose hair is there, so is your strength. A year after my airborne summer, when I needed to sign on the dotted line and commit to 2 more years of ROTC and an 8-year commitment to the U.S. Army after college, I didn't. I couldn't really follow through. In that first and second year of college, I'd grown to understand much better who I was and what I held as most dear. While teamwork, being outside, focusing on strategy, and working with other people were elements I knew I would always want in my life and in my career, I didn't see that military service as much as I admired the people who dedicated their lives to it was something I could do. That was a very hard day for me. I felt I had let down my fellow cadets, my parents, and myself. But I had to stand by what I knew was right, what was the right choice for me. More than 20 years have passed since that day, and in that time I've come to see that the lessons I learned in UVA's ROTC program, seizing the day really early, taking good care of myself so I can give the most to the people and teams I love, and looking for nose hairs are the most important lessons in my life. Thank you for letting me share them today.